The silent countdown. 7 signs. Your body. Screams before a stroke, a doctor's insider guide. What if the one thing you trust most, your own body, was secretly betraying you, ticking down to a disaster while you're blissfully unaware? Every 40 seconds, a stroke shatters someone's life in America. That's over 795,000 cases a year. And the 7 silent signs I'm about to reveal could warn you a month before it hits. As a veteran doctor who's battled decades in the trenches to save patients from the edge, I've seen the truth. Many of these tragedies could have been stopped if people tuned into the faint cries their bodies whispered weeks earlier. These aren't blaring sirens. They're sly, elusive hints that slip by unnoticed until the damage is done. Picture this. Nearly 800,000 lives disrupted annually, yet so many could have been spared with just a moment of awareness. Stay with me. This isn't just a video. It's your shot to outsmart a stealthy killer. Will you catch the signals before the clock runs out? Strokes. The silent thief of life. Strokes don't play favorites. They strike young and old, fit and frail. Over my 30 years in medicine, I've seen the stats come to life. 795,000 Americans annually, 1 every 40 seconds. Yet, here's the hope amid the havoc. Early detection can rewrite the ending. Your body often waves red flags weeks in advance. 7 subtle signs that, if caught, could save your life or a loved one's. I've watched patients ignore these hints, only to end up in my ER fighting for breath or speech. Today, I'm handing you the playbook to spot them first. A stroke happens when blood flow to the brain gets cut off, either by a clot, ischemic, the most common type, or a burst vessel, hemorrhagic, rarer but deadlier. Brain cells starve without oxygen, dying within minutes. But the buildup? That's quieter, slower, giving you a window if you know where to look. Sign 1. The silent pressure cooker, high blood pressure. Imagine your arteries as garden hoses. Now, picture the water pressure cranking up day after day until the walls fray and split. That's hypertension, high blood pressure, and it's the top stroke trigger I've seen in my practice. It erodes vessels, setting the stage for clots or ruptures. Chronic high pressure forms, blockages for ischemic strokes, or weakens walls until they burst in a hemorrhagic one, both lethal if unchecked. You might feel headaches that linger, a shortness of breath climbing stairs, or a heartbeat that skips like a scratched record. I had a patient, Tom, a 52-year-old trucker, who chalked his migraines up to long hauls. His BP was 160/100, stroke territory, and he didn't know until a clot nearly took him out. Check your numbers. Anything over 120/80 needs attention. Cut salt, walk daily, breathe deep, small moves that can dial it down. Meds help too. Don't shy away if your doctor suggests them. Silence here is deadly. Sign 2. Fatigue that won't quit. Ever feel like you're dragging through mud, even after 8 hours of sleep? Excessive fatigue isn't just burnout. It's a neon sign I've learned to spot. When arteries narrow, oxygen to your brain drops, leaving you zapped. It's a hallmark of a transient ischemic attack, TIA, a mini stroke that's a dress rehearsal for the real thing. I've seen it too often. A 45-year-old teacher, Jane, blamed her exhaustion on grading papers until a TIA hit, warning of worse to come. If you're nodding off midday or can't focus despite rest, don't shrug it off. Stress or sleep apnea might play a role, but persistent drain screams for a checkup. I tell patients, track it. If it's new and relentless, see a neurologist, especially with risks like diabetes or hypertension. Your brain's begging for help. Listen. Sign 3. Eyes that betray you. Your eyes are more than a window to the soul. They're a mirror to your brain's health. Sudden blurriness, double vision, or a blackout in one eye. That's not just a glitch. It's a circulatory SOS. Blocked arteries starve the optic nerve, flashing warnings of a stroke or TIA. I once treated a 60-year-old golfer who saw floaters and thought it was the sun, until a clot confirmed otherwise. If your glasses don't fix it or lights dance uninvited, act fast. Rush to an eye doctor or ER if it's severe. Seconds count. Regular eye exams catch culprits like hypertension early. I've seen vision save lives when patients didn't wait. Sign 4. The headache from hell. A headache that hits like a freight train, sudden, searing, unlike any before, could signal a hemorrhagic stroke or aneurysm. Bleeding in the brain spikes pressure, unleashing pain that radiates, often with nausea or light sensitivity. I remember a 38-year-old mom, Lisa, who thought her worst headache ever was a migraine. It was a ruptured vessel. She barely made it. If it's explosive, not gradual, don't pop aspirin and hope. Call 911. Manage BP to dodge this bullet. Diet, exercise, stress relief. In my ER, these cases haunt me. They're preventable with vigilance. Sign 5. Limbs that rebel. Waking up to a numb arm or a leg that won't lift. That's your brain crying for blood. Numbness or weakness, especially one-sided, flags a TIA or stroke. It might fade fast, but it's a siren. I've seen a 55-year-old mechanic dismiss tingling hands. Hours later, he couldn't grip a wrench. Treat it like a 911 call, even if it passes. TIAs are previews. Ignore them. And the main event looms. I've lost patients who waited. Don't join them. Quick scans and meds can halt the slide. Sign 6. Tongue-tied trouble. Imagine opening your mouth to speak, but the words twist, tangle, or simply vanish. Your brain's suddenly a stranger to your tongue. This isn't just a stumble. It's a chilling sign that blood's not reaching the brain's language hubs. We call it aphasia, and it strikes when those critical zones falter under oxygen starvation. I'll never forget a 70-year-old ex-cop, grizzled and sharp, who sat in my office and rasped, "Doc, my head knew the words, but my lips were rebels." It was a transient ischemic attack, TIA, a mini stroke, a warning shot. In my decades on the wards, I've seen this play out too often. Speech slurs, garbles, or blanks out, hinting at a clot or bleed brewing. Here's your lifeline. Remember, fast. Face drooping, arm weakness, speech stumbles, time to dial 911. Even if the glitch fades in minutes, don't brush it off. I've watched patients laugh off a tired tongue, only to crash with a full stroke days later. One I couldn't pull back. It's not a game of chance. It's your call to act. Rush to a neurologist or ER. Speech isn't just words. It's your brain begging for help. Heed it. Sign 7. Brain on the brink. What if your mind, the very core of who you are, started slipping and you brushed it off as a quirk of time? Dizziness that tilts your world, memory gaps that steal simple thoughts, or a stumble that feels like you've had one too many. These aren't just signs of getting old. They're urgent flares from your brain, shouting that blood flow to its balance or memory centers is faltering. I once cared for a 62-year-old librarian, Margaret, who laughed off 2 falls as a mismatch with her new loafers. She was sharp as a tack until scans revealed a clot lurking, ready to strike. These neurological hiccups demand action, not shrugs. Sudden confusion, like forgetting where you parked mid-sentence, or vertigo that spins the room like a carnival ride, could mean a hemorrhagic stroke, where bleeding jacks up brain pressure. I've seen it in the ER. Patients who rushed in for scans and blood pressure tweaks walked out with their independence intact. But those who waited, too often they didn't walk out at all. Don't gamble with "it'll pass." Call for help, fast. Your brain's on the brink, and every second counts. Strokes split into ischemic, 85%, clots, and hemorrhagic, 15%, bleeds. Atherosclerosis, atrial fibrillation, high BP. They're the usual suspects. Smoking, diabetes, cholesterol pile on risk. I've watched patients dodge these with simple shifts, quitting cigarettes, walking 30 minutes daily, eating greens over grease, monitor BP and sugar. Numbers don't lie. Sleep 7 to 9 hours, stress less. Prevention's your armor. Key takeaways. 1. Listen. Early. Those 7 signs are your body's SOS. Catch them a month out. 2. Act fast. FAST, face, arm, speech, time, means 911, even for fleeting symptoms. 3. Own prevention, BP control, diet, exercise. Your moves matter. 4. Time saves lives. Early intervention beats 90% of strokes. Don't delay. Here's the truth. A stroke doesn't have to be your story's end. It can be a chapter you rewrite. As a doctor who's held hands through the darkest hours, I've seen the power of hearing your body's quiet pleas. Those 7 signs, high blood pressure, fatigue, vision quirks, killer headaches, numb limbs, speech stumbles, neurological wobbles, aren't random. They're your early warning system. Act now, and you could be the 90% who beat it, not the statistic who didn't. Don't wait for the crash. Check your pressure, move your body, ditch the junk. I've watched patients like Tom and Jane turn whispers into wake-up calls, living richer lives post-scare than pre. You're not powerless, you're the hero here. Book that doctor visit, especially past 45. Share this with someone you love. Awareness is our weapon. Your health's no lottery ticket. It's a choice you carve out daily. I've seen too many lose the fight through silence. Don't let that be you. Take the reins, stand tall, and let's make this a victory lap. I'm rooting for you. Let's win this together.